folks, RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club-style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. As the song says, it's in the garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Every Tuesday she comes to us on these airwaves. Carol Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning. How you
Wait, I got to make sure I get the right microphone on.
Turn me on there.
There we go.
Yeah, there we
I always get the wrong one.
it's always the last
I always
one
go
turn.
like the first one I turn is the one on the other side of you.
Oh,
because I never
okay.
remember. I always think that's for, and it takes me a while to get back into it.
Yeah, each day.
A lot of people I've noticed in shorts and T-shirts and garden glove and out with their trowels and out in the yard.
Back outside. We warmed back up. Well, had a lot of rain, which is great for our landscape. The wind we could have done a little without, but lots of rain but yeah, it's nice out. It's a great time to get some annuals going, some perennials a little bit going, and your veggies.
Was the rain yesterday, because even though it was steady the entire day, there wasn't a deluge? Because sometimes in Florida, we get those afternoon storms where we get an inch and a half in 45 minutes.
That was part of Etta. That was part of Etta is what we had. Yeah, it was a lot of rain. I mean, now I was at work and we had times where it wasn't raining at all, and then all of a sudden it's just pouring, and you're saying, really?
But during the summer, when you see in July, late August, you see some of these deluges where we get an inch and a half.
15, 20 minutes, right.
That can't be good for plants.
It doesn't help anything because it comes down so hard it can't soak in. It either collects on top of the ground and then takes a few minutes to soak in, or just runs right off into the down the storm drain. And that's one of the reasons why we usually say don't fertilize during the summer months, is because you put the fertilizer down. Oh, I'm going to wait, it's going to rain this afternoon. Yeah, and it may be a quarter of an inch of rain, which you would want, or it could be 4 inches over the next 2 hours and wash it all away, and we have enough problem with our springs.
Yeah, because I got the way the property's located, the house is, there's a retention pond directly behind the house.
Okay.
So if it rains really hard, all that fertilizer would go in that retention pond.
Yeah.
And the retention pond is supposed to be there to help refill the aquifer.
And to help, and it acts as a filter.
Right.
It does act, they do act as filters. That's one of, not just to collect, but it collects storm water runoff.
Right.
And the grass and things that are planted in them, or some areas, there's actually specific vegetation that's planted in those that act as a filter to take up the excess nutrients before it ends up down in the aquifer.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, the one over here between 31st and 32nd Street and County Road 475, that area right over there, where it's backed up with traffic. If you're heading that direction, find a different route. They're working on the railroad overpass.
Oh, yeah. 441, 301,
Yeah.
the overpass is getting worked on.
Yeah.
Road's closed.
Yeah. So you have
to go down 475 right there by the little motel and everything. And,
yeah, or from the other direction.
Right.
Yeah, you have to make the left to come here, and so everybody it does. But so backed up. But that area was actually designed. That right there on the corner actually has some signage there that explains what that is, because there's like a hole there that will go down right into some of the caves and caverns here that we have under Ocala area, in the Ocala area.
People don't think about that. We're sitting on caves and caverns.
Right. Well, that's the aquifer. That's why we have sinkholes.
Right, 100%.
And, that kind of stuff caves in. But so when we get that heavy rain, or the sustained rain where the ground can no longer absorb any more water. During hurricane season that happens, because that's usually in the summer months where we get rain anyhow. And then you add on top of it the much more substantial quantities of rain. Our regular rain, like you say, could be a quarter, half, 3/4 at 2 inches of rain any given day. In the summer, add a hurricane to it, and then you're talking 4 to 6 inches or more during a very short period of time also, and the ground gets saturated, so those stormwater runoff, the retention areas, get their work out.
In June, we had a very big 2-day period of a Thursday, Friday, and I remember it vividly, it rained very, very hard. And if people don't realize that Ocala Golf Club, Municipal, Ocala Muni, on the Boulevard, was designed, when they redesigned it to be a water runoff as well.
Water reclamation area, right,
because
where they have
the neighborhoods behind the golf course and 40 would flood back.
Yeah.
You remember 40 would be closed. I mean, it would be so far underwater.
They reworked the monster. Is that part of where the monster pipe?
It is.
Yeah.
And now, but during that 2-day period, there's ponds all over Muni and everything.
Oh, yeah.
During that 2-day period, it filled up to where the ponds overflowed and became part of the fairways.
Right.
And we had to play around it. And
I'm surprised it didn't close the course.
I drove down number 4, and I go, wow, that's the fairway, not the pond, but it was part of the pond.
Part of the pond had come out.
Because they got 6.5 inches in 2 days. And I don't care who you are, 6.5 inches in 2 days is going to create flooding.
It's going to create flooding. No matter where you're at, no matter how good your drainage is, it's going to at least temporarily flood. And like you said, golf courses are in Florida. We have a lot of golf courses.
A lot.
And especially down the villages, there's a ton of them, and just most of the communities around here have at least a small golf course, and they're water reclamation areas. They are stormwater runoff areas, and that's why sometimes in the summertime they close them.
Yes.
Because they're just too wet. The damage would happen, and there's not a whole lot to golf on when you're golfing and you need your rubber boots on.
No, the beauty of Ocala, though, is it sits on top of the aquifer pretty good.
Yes.
So things drain
rather quickly. And our sandy soils, and so that's,
Let's go to the phone lines. Hi, caller. You're on with Carol Ann Baldwin.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I have a question about fertilizers.
Sure.
I was given a bag of azalea fertilizers, an 848, and an ornamental fertilizer, and it's also an 848.
Okay.
Can I use that on the grass?
No. There's nothing labeled there's nothing on the label that would tell you how much of that to put on your lawn. And in Florida, so I'm trying to think of like 10 years ago, approximately, we removed the phosphate so that what would you say the numbers were?
848.
That 4 is not in lawn fertilizer because we don't need it in our lawn fertilizers. Our grass does not need that phosphate, so it's like throwing a pollutant on the ground.
What would you suggest I do with those fertilizers? Because I have no ornamentals and I have no azaleas.
You have no plants in the landscape. No palms,
yes,
no
I
shrubs, no. Use it on those. It's just not on the lawn. If you have holly, if you have a hedge, you can use it on the hedge. You have boxwood, you have, you've got an area full of junipers, throw that up underneath those. Don't put it on top of them, but throw it on the ground up underneath them, and that's where you could use it.
And you could also maybe use it on a papaya?
Sure. Sure. I wouldn't fertilize the papaya now because you figure first freeze this year, it's going to kill it. The papaya.
Okay.
Yeah, those don't handle freezes, so don't even think about fertilizing that one right now. But if you've got Indian hawthorn in front of the house, or you've got ligustrum or viburnum somewhere, those are all ornamental plants. What's considered ornamentals.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Now I can find a place for them.
Yeah.
Also, with the one papaya was the Red Lady. I think it was from Eustis.
Okay.
It had it started looking really going like downhill, and I looked and I see chewing on the leaves. There was 6 big green caterpillars on it.
Okay.
Up towards them. Are those like what they call a tomato caterpillar?
They might be like a tomato hornworm or a tobacco worm, some type. Yeah, which are all really closely related. That papaya tree could lose like 40-50% of its leaves and still produce papaya. So that's not necessarily a huge problem with it. If it was looking poorly, it's the papaya like plenty of water very regularly. So they're not one where you can go, oh, I can water them twice a week. They're more like I need to water them about every other day. So, with quite a bit of water, nice organically amended soils, because you figure they grow in the tropics, and usually that soil and the climate and just the moisture is it's a little more wet and a little more standard on that or stable on the amount of moisture.
Okay. One more quick question on the papaya.
Yeah.
The red ladies that you get from either Eustis or down in
I was going to say they're pretty common most anywhere even in the big box stores.
Right. That's where I got it.
Yeah.
But it has your one nice papaya is about maybe 2 feet tall, and then they have another one next to it coming up. I noticed it 2 in a pot. Is that?
Could be for some of them. It could be for pollination, or you just got lucky and you got 2 trees.
Should you think you should pull them apart, or just let both of them grow together?
I'd probably, I might, if I took them out of the pot, I'd probably try to separate them at least, enough to where their trunks weren't necessarily rubbing right up against each other. But you could leave them in the same general area. You wouldn't have to go and put them 10 feet apart or something like that. I would just maybe see if you could work the roots out and, maybe separate them 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate your help.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
I really do.
Sure, you're welcome. You have a great day now.
Thank you, and you all have a good day, right?
You
Bye-bye.
too, thank you.
Papaya is something that you don't think about that can grow here in Florida, but we have tropical weather most of the time.
We're considered subtropical here in Central Florida. They're more tropical down once you get south of Orlando area, but papaya are fast growing.
Right.
You put one in the ground after all danger of frost. So you're talking probably mid-April. Just to be on the safe side. And come November, you are able to harvest.
Really?
They grow and so if you lose that one, what you do, you take cuttings and start new ones and keep them in the house and take care of them all winter long, and boom, put another one out. I mean, if we get lucky and don't have a freeze, which is unusual for us to not have at least one
freeze, right?
And this year, I'm still under the thing that if Florida is hotter and it's hot as hell is freezing over this year.
2020.
And I mean, there's another tropical storm out there.
I know, Theta.
Yeah.
Subtropical, they say.
Yeah, subtropical, and this one looks like it's probably going to get torn apart, but poor Central America might be getting hit again.
We got a phone call, and then we need to take a break. Hi, caller, real quick. We're up against a break.
Hi, Carol Ann.
Yeah, hey, Sonny.
I heard the gentleman mention these caterpillars.
Yeah.
And years and years ago, we were having tomatoes and stuff like that, so they had the caterpillars there. I made a concoction out of garlic powder and water.
Right.
I used warm water to help dissolve the garlic powder.
Right.
And I sprayed the plants with the garlic water mix, and it kept the bugs away, and you didn't have to worry about pesticides on it. But this was many years ago. I did that.
You're lucky
Also
it worked for
well
you, because
on my
it
other
never.
veggies.
Yeah, you're lucky it worked for you. I never had any of those homemade concoction repellents ever work. The hot pepper ones, I had the tomato hornworms eating the jalapenos on the plant, and it's like, really, you don't like hot stuff? So you're lucky. Yeah, you are lucky.
It worked for me, and it worked on other plants besides tomato plants.
Sure.
You know, other plants that had caterpillars and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thanks for the call,
you
Sonny.
too.
Thank you, Carol Ann.
Thank you, Sonny.
We need to take a break. We'll come back with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin right after this short timeout.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Brick City Creative Group is your one-stop multimedia destination. With the experience our team has, not many can really tell a story like we do. Specializing in live broadcasting, promo reels, film, and social media. No matter the story, we've got you covered with some of the best professionals in the industry. Your story is our mission. Find us on the web at brickcitycreativegroup.com or on Facebook at Brick City Creatives.
Started in 1975. It's Yendel's Building Materials. Whether you're making repairs, adding a room, or building a house, Yendel's constantly delivers excellent service and top quality materials and many of the tools and hardware you need to get the job done. At Yendel's, they take pride in supplying their customers with new and innovative products. Yendel's experience in truss design, manufacturing, and component materials is second to none. 834 North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala, 732-3000. Stop by to experience the difference.
Finally, shipping made easy. Just Ship is your answer to your shipping aggravation. They come pick up your package and ship it for you. Birthday gifts, eBay sales, or an online return. Just Ship can handle all of them for you. Act now and you can save 20% on an annual subscription, which will take you through the 2020 holiday months. Go to www.justship.net now and take the aggravation out of shipping.
There's a staycation right here in town. It's Super 8 Motel Ocala, right down the road on 40, just west of I-75. And they're pet friendly. Have truck parking, free breakfast, a swimming pool, a kiddie pool, and veterans get 10% off. It's a staycation at Super 8 Ocala. Call today, Super 8 Ocala, at 352-629-8794. Again, 352-629-8794.
Veterans Day in the U.S. is also known as Armistice Day in other parts of the world, and it honors the many military who have fought for freedom. It is also the anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I. Major hostilities formally ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. The folks at the Voice of South Marion join you in remembering military past and present.
In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Got about 5 minutes till we go to break. Carol Ann, I have been instructed that I have questions I have to ask you.
Right.
My lovely significant other, Susan, is giving me last night she goes, so Carol Ann Baldwin will be on tomorrow. Here's some things you have to ask her.
Need some answers here.
Yeah,
Need some answers.
Yeah. Not Hey, honey, what's your radio show about tomorrow? Carol Ann's on tomorrow. Here's what you're asking.
Here's the questions I need answered, baby. Yeah, here you go.
She's contemplating a compost hole.
Okay.
And I had one in North Carolina for the longest time. You know, I lived on back in my hippie days in the early middle 1990s when I had hair down to my shoulders. There was like 18 of us that lived on 11 and a half acres in Boone, North Carolina, compost hole and everything.
Right.
But she asked me a question because we were not all coffee drinkers there. We were, we drank tea and stuff like that. So she said, can she put her used coffee grounds with the filter? In the compost hole.
Yes, actually you can. I probably wouldn't dump them all in a pile in there.
You don't want to
take it scattered into the compost pile and maybe tear the coffee filter up a little bit just to help it. You know, the smaller the material is, the faster it will break down. And then cover it up, make a little hole in it and throw a little of your existing stuff on top of it so that there's, don't have an odor issue or anything like that emanating to attract.
What all can go in compost? I know that vegetable peelings.
All your vegetable scraps, your eggshells.
I know eggshells. She asked that last night. She was like,
now I like to take, if I'm going to do eggshells, is you can rinse them out. So that and let them dry on the counter a little bit, and then crush them. Or some people throw them in the blender
and grind them up.
Grind
That's
them up
what
a little
did.
bit, and that makes it. And you can use those actually right in amongst the plants.
Really, I didn't know that.
Because it breaks them down, and it's not going to take too much away. But anything, so long as it's not like, say, other than vegetables, cooked food items. You don't want bones in there. You don't want meat scraps in there. You don't want fat in that. These all will attract rodents and varmint. Vermin, whatever they are.
I'm from South Georgia.
Varmints. Varmints. You don't want bread and things like that.
Really? You don't put bread in there?
Yeah, bread is just one of those kind of things. It's going to mold.
Huh.
And things like that. So like all your vegetable scraps, all your trimmings out of the landscape, I try not to, or the best thing to do is if you've got something that was diseased that you're removing, throw that in the garbage. Or even we used to do when we would clean out, say, the tomato bed at the Ag Center, was no tomato seeds or no tomatoes went in there because we didn't want the seedlings sprouting because most everything's hybrid. Unless you're buying,
the seedlings would
are going to come up.
They're
going to sprout in that compost hole, and you have a tendency to want to grow them, but they may or may not come true to what your seed was.
Right.
And so we always and the health of the plant also is how good is that?
How important? Because I'm from South Georgia.
Yeah.
The one thing you always have in South Georgia is there's a spot in your yard where there's no all these people take pavers and make these nice areas. It's not what we do. We just dig a little impression in the dirt, start piling up limbs and leaves and logs, and all of a sudden we got a burn pile pit.
Yeah.
But then you get the white ash and you get the ash. How good is that ash out of that burn pit to use on your...
A small amount. You can overdo the potash. So you can even throw it, say a spadeful or two into the compost pot, and again incorporating that in, and you can do composting almost anywhere. Say you've got a raised vegetable garden, and you don't really have a place elsewhere in the yard to compost. Get you some wire. And block off part of your raised bed and do composting. Fill that up. Let that begin to break down, and then when you're done, you can just take that cover off, break that down into the bed pretty nicely, spade it in just a little bit, not too deep, just into that top 6 to 8 inches of soil, and go ahead and get started on planting.
We got 4 dogs and a cat.
Okay.
The compost pile or hole will be in the backyard somewhere, which is their area as well.
Right.
What precautions do we need to take, if any, to make sure that the animals in the compost hole can operate in the same area without any kind of
shouldn't be a big problem.
I got 2 hound dogs, and they put their nose to the ground, and they're going to smell something.
Sure. The only thing you're going to find in a well-working compost pile is, yes, you may find cockroaches.
Yeah, well,
they break down organic material.
Right.
You're gonna find earthworms. You're gonna find roly-polies. You may find some ants. If you find fire ants, treat for them. And find out what you're doing wrong. Because if you get fire ants in there, you're probably doing something wrong. Because that compost should heat up over, it shouldn't take it too long. It should begin to get a temperature to it, and that's what helps to break down and kill bacteriums, kill weed seeds, and that kind of stuff.
We're up against a break, caller. If you're on the line, if you're trying to call in, we're up against a break. So please call us after the break. Or you can hold through the break. It's completely up to you. Okay, they're probably going to call back after the break. Good. We're talking with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. It is In the Garden. She is here every Tuesday taking your calls and your questions about your plants and your gardens and what you can do better or what you may be doing great that you want to tell her about and she can share with other people. We can do all of that. You're listening to it on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, live from the Paddock Mall just outside the food court entrance in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. This is Ocala Talks. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
In a leaked memo to the Associated Press, U.S. Attorney General William Barr authorizes federal prosecutors to probe substantial allegations of voting irregularities. Barr continues, I authorize you to pursue substantial allegations of voting and vote tabulation irregularities prior to the certification of elections in your jurisdiction, in certain cases, as I have already done in specific instances, referring to a man in Texas being arrested after trying to cast 1,700 stolen mail-in ballots. The Attorney General on CNN.
Which is the bipartisan commission chaired by Jimmy Carter and James Baker, said back in 2009 that mail-in voting is fraught with the risk of fraud and coercion.
But since then,
and until this
haven't proved it.
Let me talk.
Yeah, please.
Since that time, there have been in the newspapers, in networks, academic studies saying it is open to fraud and coercion.
USA Radio News.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values, and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical Christian American constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930, and use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg, and get your first year on me.
Some of the best defensive plants to keep your home and garden safe. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
Welcome to the All In for Citrus podcast. There's a new resource available that brings all of Florida's citrus research together, delivering it right to you on your computer, phone, or tablet. Introducing the All In for Citrus podcast from UF-IFAS in partnership with Southeast AgNet. The monthly series spans the Sunshine State with research project updates from the UF-IFAS statewide citrus team. Listen to the latest episode by searching All In for Citrus on iTunes, your favorite podcasting application, or at citrusindustry.net.
Shrimp, grouper, stone crab, oysters, clams. That's just a sample of the great seafood that Florida's Gulf Coast is famous for. Fresh, wholesome seafood caught by fishing families that for generations have taken great pride in their work. No gathering is complete without delicious Florida Gulf seafood fresh from the docks. Remember, when shopping or dining out, ask for fresh from Florida seafood. That helps our state's fishermen and our local economies.
Natural plant barriers made up of defensive plants can be used as a source of protection on your property. Strong, spiky defensive plants, instead of modern fencing, are used to keep animals in certain areas and can also be used to protect houses and property and to mark borders. Using these plants makes sense when you don't want fences with razor wire, lights, or other obvious deterrents, but want to maintain a natural look and still keep people or animals out. The following plants will work very well: agave, barberry, blackberry, blackthorn, bougainvillea, California fuchsia, Chinese jujube, crown of thorns, devil's walking stick, giant rhubarb, hardy orange, hawthorn, honey locust, juniper, roses, and prickly pear. Defensive plants can be extremely effective for your protection needs. You just need to choose the right ones and keep on top of the condition and pruning. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be cloudy and humid with some spotty showers. Breezy this afternoon with a high of 84 to 88. Then cloudy and very warm tonight with showers and a low of 74 to 76. Hurricane Ada will affect the area tomorrow with some wind and rain and a high of 84 to 88. Then more rain from the storm on Thursday. High 83 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Finally, shipping made easy. Just Ship is your answer to your shipping aggravation. They come pick up your package and ship it for you. Birthday gifts, eBay sales, or an online return. Just Ship can handle all of them for you. Act now and you can save 20% on an annual subscription, which will take you through the 2020 holiday months. Go to www.justship.net now and take the aggravation out of shipping. As the song says, we're in the garden with Carol Ann, Master Gardener, Carol Ann Baldwin. She will tell you what to do. Yeah. Give her a call, 622-9622. Caller that was trying to get in before the break. We're hoping you'll call back, 622-9622. We heard the Florida Ag News that played during the break, and they talked about prickly plants you can plant around your fence and to keep people out of your yard, a natural barrier. But I got dogs that dig out of the yard.
Right.
Can prickly plants be used to benefit to stop them as well?
It probably would slow them down because I think they even were saying cats. I thought is what they said. Yeah. But yeah, you can plant different things. Just something low growing that it's not easy to get through. Some of them are just dense. Most of those that she mentioned do have thorns of some kind, and blackberry. Some of it.
Blackberry grows so wild, though. It's very hard to keep. It's very hard to keep under control. Blackberries.
Right. It is, but you know what? But you get blackberries too. But see, I don't know if that would have stopped my dog because we used to go out with to go pick them, the wild ones, and the dog would. And of course, you can't see me making these unless you're watching it on the
dog
computer.
Would eat the berries.
Would go and stick his nose in and pluck the berries, but it was.
I hadn't thought about dense shrubbery or something like that, low to the ground shrubbery where they can't get through.
Can't get through, right?
Because I don't want to, the answer is the cattle fence, and I don't want to put the cattle fence because it shocks them. So I think we'll get the invisible fence. Well, that's $1,600, and it shocks them. If I could do it with plants and would keep them from, and maybe the roots grow through the fence or the plant, so they can't move the fence anyway.
Right. I was going to say something like even like a Confederate jasmine is going to keep that fence from moving.
I hadn't thought about Confederate jasmine. You're right. You can put that at the bottom of the fence.
And then you got fragrance,
Right, you move that at the bottom of the fence.
Put that every few feet, and as it starts to grow, you just make it twine the way you want it to initially, and that
It'll
fence
go.
isn't going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, the fence could rust out, and the vine's still going to
It would
stand there.
still, and
Yeah.
in the winter, even when it dies out,
but
it's still.
Well, but Confederate jasmine doesn't die back.
Oh, it doesn't?
It's evergreen.
Oh, okay.
That one's evergreen, so.
Let's go to the phone lines. Hi,
Yeah.
caller. Who's this? You're on with Carol Ann Baldwin.
Hi, Carol Ann. It's Tony again.
Yeah.
You're talking about the compost piles.
Yeah.
The one I had like a piece of pipe that was about 4 or 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I put that down the middle of the compost pile. I always made sure that the compost was evenly across the top, not mounded in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And that way it guided whatever rain down toward the center of the compost to trap it. And you use that pipe to keep that opening up and like help stir it up a little.
Right.
But
Did you have holes in your
always have
your
to-
pipe? Sonny, did you have holes drilled in your pipe so the water could come out all the way down into the middle of it?
No, this was a regular, at that time it was galvanized pipe.
Okay,
About,
okay.
inch and a half pipe.
Okay.
So there were no holes. But the thing was, the other thing on there with the animals is the cat always liked laying on the compost pile because it was
warm,
producing heat.
Yes, yep.
They like to be warm.
They sure do.
And the other thing I used on the compost, always had some lime handy.
Okay.
Especially if it did start smelling a little bit. Then I put some lime in there, and it just did away with the odor. At least did away for me, anyhow.
Okay.
And you have to water these things too every once in a while if it doesn't rain.
Yes, you do. And for us, they can be open and they'll work year round. We don't have to worry about trapping some of the heat in because we're generally warm enough. You're not going to lose that much
And heat's one of the main ingredients.
Is the main right.
Oh, yeah.
The proper combination
they
makes the heat.
Years ago, they had a big thermometer with like a food.
Like a big giant long one. Yeah, like a big giant long one.
Stick that in there, and you'd be amazed. It'd be around 120, 130 degrees.
Yeah, and that's how you knew it was working well.
Yes. And what else? If you want to make a compost pile, one of the easiest ways to make it is with the flats.
Oh, the pallets,
like the, skids.
Yep. Used pallets,
yeah. Comes in. Yeah, pallets. And 3 of those, and you use the heavy-duty or longer plastic ties to tie them together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a simple one.
To tie the ends, and you got a compost pile.
Yes, you do.
But those are the things that I used to do. Not anymore.
Yeah.
I can't have them down here for some reason in our development.
A lot of communities don't allow them, and then you have to get creative on how to do it.
Thanks for the call, Sonny.
Well, the other way is with you get a plastic barrel and you cut out a square.
Yep.
And you
just
put it on
do
a
it.
rotisserie type of thing
Yep.
and keep turning it. And the square is what you use with hinges, and you open it up and put the
and to remove remove it and to fill it. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Sonny.
Thanks for the information. Thanks for the programming, and have great gardening.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
You too, Sonny.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the pallets, but you're right. It creates a perfect cage.
Oh
for a
yeah, it's got it, and
compost.
and it allows air to circulate through. It's open on the top, so easy to fill if you just have the 3 sides. A lot of times people do a 3-step. To me, that's a hard working one.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you pile everything in the one, and then you have another one that say. Several weeks later, you transfer the one into the other and begin piling again.
Right.
And then a few weeks from then, you turn that one into the third one and move the other one down and fill.
That's way too much work.
That's a hard working one there. But you do need to occasionally stir your compost. So
you've got
to have a pitchfork or something, or even just a spade will do it. Just get in there, turn it, flip it over a little bit. But you're looking for a good ratio, and I can never remember the numbers off the top of my head. But you need the green. That's your vegetable scraps, the trimmings out of the yard,
grass,
the grass clippings. And then you need brown. You need the coffee grounds. dry leaves.
Right.
That have fallen. Rake the leaves up, run them over with the lawnmower. It helps them to break
Pine
down.
straw help with that or no?
Pine straw, you mow it over.
Right.
Pine straw takes a while to break down. But anything out of the yard.
I got a mulching mower with a bag on the back.
Right. So you can either just mow it and do it that way, or rake it up and get it in an area and excuse me, mow that over and put it into the compost bin, and your kitchen scraps and then a shovelful or two of dirt, just from the yard, because that has the enzymes, that has the bacteriums. You don't need to go out and buy a starter for compost.
Yeah, people always say,
it will rot.
Yeah, somebody, you need the starter. I'm like, no, the heat, especially in Florida, the heat and moisture in Florida will rot things.
Water, and as you're adding to this, you're putting some water in. You want it to feel like a wrung out sponge.
Right.
So about that moist. If you think about the sponge, you've washed the dishes, you've wrung it out. What does that feel like? That's what you want your compost to feel like. So you may, in a dry season, you may have to go out and open that, have that pipe in the middle, or open that up a little bit and put that hose down and get some water down into the middle of that.
In North Carolina, when I lived in North Carolina, because it was less, it wasn't, it's much, people say Florida's humid. North Carolina, it rains 5 out of 7 days up in the mountains. So you actually had to, at times, keep the compost from getting wet.
Right. And that can happen even here with us during hurricane season, that it'll just wash everything, excuse me, or keep it cooled down. It will keep cooling it, and you're fighting with it. But you get that going, and if you're not working real hard at it, if you're not out there turning it once a week and making sure everything is good, it might take you 6 months to get compost. You want it to look like dirt before it goes in the garden. If it doesn't, just realize it can steal nutrient from the plants initially. It'll bind it to where the plants can't use it. And so you may have a little bit of a deficiency. But even with your compost pile, get you a bag of manure or even a bag of fertilizer that's got a pretty decent nitrogen thing. Throw a few handfuls, throw a few shovelfuls. That's going to help it break down. If you have chickens or rabbits, anything that's, something you can use for manure, we don't use dog poo, we don't use the kitty litter. Those things can be disgusting for us as well as your plants. But your rabbit manure, if you have a goat, you got somebody who's got, horses can have a lot of weed seed in them, but the smaller animals, it's easier to take care of.
I butt up against Siler's cow pastures.
Okay, yeah. If you reach over there and go, hey, follow a cow around. Hey, you, right here in this bucket.
That's why a compost hole will be good on our property, because it literally, at the back part of the property, it butts up against the cow pasture.
And you have a
no neighbor's going to complain.
Yeah, nobody's going to care. And so look, and I mean, and they don't stink unless you're doing something wrong.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. And usually, anymore, get your plastic bucket in the kitchen that's got a lid. Collect up the trimmings from the kitchen. Collect up, the eggshells and all that stuff. And every couple of days, go out there and just make a hole into the compost. Take the shovel, lift it up, dump that in there. Pile that back on there so it's inside, so it's not something fresh.
Because we're creating dirt is what we're creating.
That's it. You're making dirt.
That's all
and our gardens need that, in order, because we have very sandy soil. But you can amend our soil and get nice dirt.
Much cheaper alternative than buying the dirt too.
Sure. If you are in a community that does not allow you to compost, you can compost in much smaller quantities. And one is to collect all those kitchen scraps. You got the tea bags, you got the coffee grounds, all the trimmings, collect them in the bucket, go out in the yard, get your post hole digger.
Dig a hole in the ground,
foot down, dump that bucket full of stuff and cover it up. The next time, move over. Go a little further down in the garden and do another pile. And just go down the line. It's going to break down in there, and it's going to be just fine. Collecting up, mowing your grass with the catcher. We usually say leave it on the ground, but if you've got a lot of leaves and stuff, and you have flower bed, and if you have a flower bed or something like that, or a bed that you do often, Add some of that in there. You know, it might start out as mulch.
The maple and the magnolias are throwing leaves like crazy right now.
And the black gums, or the sweet gums.
Sweet gums.
Sweet gums are,
we got magnolias and maples, and they're throwing leaves.
All over the place.
All over the place. And those, you know, the
magnolias are huge, and they're hard to break down.
mulching mower chops those up really good and everything. So, hi, caller, you're on with Carol Ann Baldwin.
Good morning, guys. I missed most of the program. I was having fun in the dental chair.
Oh, glad you had a good day. Good morning. Hey, you don't sound like you're drooling, so it might
Hewitt, sounds like a pretty good day at the dentist.
Yeah.
You're not drooling.
All right. So, yeah, except for my wallet.
There you go.
Say, I'm talking about compost piles. Is pine needles okay in a compost pile?
If you chop them up, they are slower to break down. But if you get them, if you run them over like Tom's got a mulching mower, you know, you rake it up, mow them over with the mower, collect them up, they're going to break down, same as anything else.
What about pine cones?
Again, I mean, pine cones, they're going to take longer. Same thing, magnolia burrs. Those you might want to just pick out and throw away because they might be that chunk that's there at the end. Because they even with the mulching mower, they don't necessarily chop up real good. You know, that those, you know, manage to shoot out, you know, or just be sucked up into the catcher because the weight of them.
Okay, well, getting back to, it looks like that we got a rain through the system there, and I never got up to an inch of rain where I am, but I think everything is going to be passing us by. You know, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more because I know back where I used to live in that, it was getting mighty dry, and I was hoping for a good 2-3 inches of rain, or they were even talking about more than that, but I think we kind of missed out on this one again.
Yeah, I had about 2 inches. My rain gauge showed about 2 inches this morning. So, and we still could get rain from this. I mean, you look at how overcast we are, and those clouds do look like they've got rain in them, kind of thing.
I think we're going to get another couple 3-feeder bands probably come through.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care and have a good day.
All right,
Thanks,
you too, Hugh.
Hey, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back with Carol Ann Baldwin in the garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
Move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Brick City Creative Group is your one-stop multimedia destination. With the experience our team has, not many can really tell a story like we do. Specializing in live broadcasting, promo reels, film, and social media. No matter the story, we've got you covered with some of the best professionals in the industry. Your story is our mission. Find us on the web at brickcitycreativegroup.com or on Facebook at Brick City Creatives.
Started in 1975. It's Yendel's Building Materials. Whether you're making repairs, adding a room, or building a house, Yendel's constantly delivers excellent service and top quality materials and many of the tools and hardware you need to get the job done. At Yendel's, they take pride in supplying their customers with new and innovative products. Yendel's experience in truss design, manufacturing, and component materials is second to none. 834 North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala, 732-3000. Stop by to experience the difference.
Veterans Day in the U.S. is also known as Armistice Day in other parts of the world, and it honors the many military who have fought for freedom. It is also the anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I. Major hostilities formally ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. The folks at the Voice of South Marion join you in remembering military past and present.
There's a staycation right here in town. It's Super 8 Motel Ocala, right down the road on 40, just west of I-75. And they're pet friendly. Have truck parking. Free breakfast.
Yum, yum.
A swimming pool. A kiddie pool. And veterans get 10% off. It's a staycation at Super 8 Ocala. Call today, Super 8 Ocala at 352-629-8794. Again, 352-629-8794.
Oh, hey, Grandpa. Oh, hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to.
Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
It is In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. We've been talking about a myriad of topics today, compost being one of them. Carol Ann, let me ask you this. So it's that time of year, it's November.
Yep.
A couple weeks, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
If I wanted to start putting some sort of food item in the ground, is it the right time? Is it too late? What can I grow?
We can grow all kinds of stuff this time of year. I mean, that's the one blessing about being here in Central Florida. You can continue to plant carrots, lettuce, spinach, collards. Everybody got to have their kale. I know I said it that, but all those, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, great Chinese cabbage. People like to make
very little
their
restrictions in.
The only thing you wouldn't be putting in now would be tomatoes, peppers, those things that need hot weather, because our nighttime temperatures should be cooling down. We are tracking a little more on the seasonal on the temperatures right now, but you've got all kinds of stuff that's going to go in the vegetable garden and going to give you produce. Our onions, get your sweet onions. If you can find them, I got to catch our Bonnie guy and go, why haven't I seen the sweet onions coming in yet, that I can plant so that I don't have to mail order for them, because I got to do it rather quickly if so. But
could you put scallions in the ground, stuff like that? Yeah,
you throw scallions in the ground. They don't seem to really care too much. They'll take whatever the weather gives, it seems like. So you can do the scallions. You can plant leeks. Leeks are the secret to having lots of whites is plant them in a trench and then keep mounding that up so that you keep the white, keep as much of that white, nice and blanched out. Potatoes, we're going to wait till January to put potatoes in the ground. Everybody said, January? Yeah, that's our coldest time. Exactly. That's what they like. So you can do quite a bit of planting right now. And I would plant like carrots every couple weeks so that you have a nice supply coming in on a regular basis versus, I now have 20 pounds of carrots. You might rather have 2 or 3 pounds once a month. So plant them out, in successive crops, lettuces and things like that. Same kind of thing, because you can harvest quite a bit.
Can you do bean sprouts?
Bean sprouts, I'd grow them in some type of container where you could bring them in if the temperature was going to go. It was going to get
cold. So you can do that. Because I know I grow peppers year round.
Right.
People go, how do you grow peppers year round? They stay on my lanai with a fluorescent light bulb during the coldest month, during the cold time, or they're out on the front porch in the sun after that. But I keep them warm. But because Florida doesn't get blistering cold,
we don't say excessive. Right. And peppers, people don't realize peppers are perennials. So even if they were to get hit back, so long as they don't get that bad, you can keep these for years. They're not an annual where they, from seed, grow, flower, fruit, and die.
Right.
They will actually continue to produce, and sometimes you can even cut them back some. I had a 3-year-old habanero. It stood about 4 feet high, but it would get burnt some each winter, and back up it would come and do okay.
I have a habanero that I've had for 4 years.
Yeah.
And my roommate and I left it. He has it down on his porch.
Yeah.
And he doesn't come home. He's a travel nurse. He doesn't come home very often. Very little care is taken this plant.
Right.
In the wintertime, it's covered up so it doesn't get too burned.
Right.
And this habanero last year, last pick season,
right?
When I say pick season, when we would need some habaneros, we go pick it.
Right, go pick it.
I think we got 35 peppers off of it.
Okay. Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of habaneros to get through a season. That's for sure.
But it's a huge plant now.
Right.
But
It's a nice bushy plant.
Right,
yeah.
it's a nice bushy plant.
And there's some of them are very ornamental, especially if you try to keep them. And though, just realize if you notice, the smaller the pepper, the hotter they are.
100%.
So just watch out. I mean, now if you have birds, the larger birds, say you have a parrot or things like that, they love them.
Really?
They love. They can't taste them.
Yeah,
they can't taste the heat.
Oh.
They don't have a wet tongue.
I didn't know that.
So I think there's actually a native like wild pepper out there that the crows and things like that.
And it's the wet tongue that causes the problem.
Mm-hmm. That's why squirrels don't like hot peppers. That's wise you can put them. Use some crushed red pepper in your bird feeders.
Right.
And that
Squirrels
don't like it. They get a snootful. They're not
Dogs
happy.
don't like when you put it on the black padding that goes around your pipes and all on your pump. The dogs like to chew that. Put some red pepper on it. Dogs won't chew that.
They won't chew it. Yeah. You got to watch. I don't know. We had a cat that would eat jalapenos.
Well, I have a dog that'll eat bananas.
And I had the dog like the hot pork skins.
Whoa, ooh.
Yeah.
I like the hot pork skins too.
Yeah, but when you have to share with the dog, it's like, come on, really?
Well, Carol Ann, as always, it goes by really fast.
Yes, it has.
It goes by really fast.
It does.
And I got my compost questions in, so I'm not going to be in the doghouse.
Okay, you won't be in the doghouse today. That works. That works. And so, hey, anybody's got questions that we didn't get to or you want to, look us up on Facebook, In the Garden. Just ask to join. If I've missed anybody, maybe if you have to, ask again or something. I'll try to look tonight when I get home and make sure I haven't missed anybody.
See you next week.
Yep, sounds good.
Carol Ann Baldwin, Master Gardener. We'll be right back after this timeout on WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this